Hey guys, it's Cat, and today we're going to be making the bottom floor for the interior of my spaceship, which I'm making for a comic. So we're just starting off by doing the floor plan for the bottom floor, which I've kind of planned out the top floor as well, but it was just way too much to do in one video, so that'll be a future video. Yeah, the plan for the bottom floor is to have the kind of important stuff. So we've got the kitchen, dining room, the hallway slash like exit space, the office space, which is going to be where she does like all her work and stuff, and then the control room, which is just where she drives the ship and stuff. I think I want to add like a robot making section because I'm planning on having a robot be her little sidekick as well. But I created a build in The Sims that I'm using as reference for the drawings I'm going to be making for like concept art, which I end up using The Sims 4 pretty heavily to figure out the perspectives of different objects and stuff. But not everything in The Sims ends up matching what I end up drawing, because I wanted to make it all look more alien-y, which I'm not sure if that's a word, but I think it matches what I'm trying to say. I don't think I 100% got there. Like, some things just don't look that different to what they would on Earth, which I'm not sure if that's like a huge problem, but some things I definitely like to change, like the plant doesn't make sense because it just doesn't make sense. But maybe if I have like a growing tube or something, which like all of this I'm going to be working on over time, but I just wanted to get the majority of it in place so I can like get in her mind and figure out where she'd do different things and stuff like that. But I can definitely see myself spending days on one room in the future, but not today because I've got loads of other things I could be doing, which are probably more important. Oh well, it's fine. I've been thinking more about the character and just the world in general. I kind of realised while designing the rooms that I am pretty much just making my dream spaceship and my dream scenario. I haven't really been trying to look at it from someone else's perspective, which does make it kind of easier because it means like I have a very solid idea of what I like and the things I'm into, which I think is fine. It's kind of like I had a really massive obsession with shifting, which was when like people would say that when they go to sleep they transform into a different world, and I was so jealous. I was so jealous. I'm pretty sure it was all fake, which makes me sad, but it's fine. So this is kind of my way of doing that, is just designing my own planet and my own world. I am going to try and make characters with less me personality traits though, because I think it is one of my biggest weaknesses, I think, because there really isn't a lot of variety in my characters, although I don't have many characters at all, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, I pretty much only do environments or work from observation and stuff like that. So this is a new learning experience, I guess. And we've now moved on to the office space, or like the back view of the main room, which I haven't 100% figured out some of the stuff in there. I wanted to add more art supplies, but The Sims had a lacking amount of art supplies and I was struggling with perspective and stuff. I definitely want to include the main drawing setup being on like an easel, and then having like a more digital section with the drawing tablet and the computers. And I think I want like a lot of retractable bits and pieces, like the light, the drawing tablet, just other things. So everything is like movable. I'm sorry that it just kind of skips over a bunch of the recording. I don't know how I managed to turn off the speed paint setting in Procreate. I didn't even realize you could do that, so that's fun. We're moving over to where you'd be looking into the room from the entrance. I haven't ordered the recordings in like where it makes most sense if you'd be looking through the rooms. I do it at the very end to show all the images, but I've just put them in the video based on when I did them, because I think going through them you can kind of see the decrease in the amount of detail I added, and I just spent a lot less time on the later ones, which I think made them look better, because everything was a lot bolder and I just focused on getting the bigger shapes in, which just overall I prefer how they looked. They looked more stylized and less murky. I think the first two, especially the colours, just everything was so desaturated, and I tried to fix it, but still I prefer the later ones I did. This was pretty good practice to figure out what I want to do for the actual comic. Like, I realised that I definitely want to get a more narrowed colour palette and stick to, I don't know, 6 colours and just use those colours, because it just makes everything look more unified and less crazy all the time. And it just makes me focus more on the overall image and makes it a lot less complicated. Now we're moving on to the entrance room, which is at the very back of the ship, I guess. I'm not sure what to call the back and what the front, but it's fine. It's one of the ends. But this is going to be where the entrance is, which is kind of my biggest problem at the moment, because when I was designing the exterior, it didn't cross my mind to figure out where the entrance would be, which wasn't very smart at all. And also, I've been reading Supergirl because of the new Supergirl movie coming out, which I'm very excited for. I have no one to talk to about it, but it's okay. And I really love her ship. I really liked the entrance area. There was a bunch of tubes and loads of details. And right now my ship is very simple, so I kind of want to make it more complicated, which is kind of the opposite of what I'm saying for the interior. I want to make the outside more complicated. I want to make the inside simpler. And I'd also like to make it look less like a submarine and more like a spaceship, so adding some more sharper lines and less smoothness, I guess. So now we're moving on to the last artwork that I'm going to be doing today, which is the control room. This is also the room that ends up being the least fleshed out. I'm still not 100% set on any of it. I know I want the control bit, a robot making bit, and then kind of like a communication area. So 3 main areas, but I'm not sure what any of the buttons do, so I want to figure that out, and just the spacing I'm not sure on. I did try and create a colour palette for all these artworks. I stuck to blues, purples and reds, which I think they all work together quite nicely. Obviously there's style differences, and I do want to make the colour palette more restricted, but I'm pretty happy with them right now. But we've come to the end of the video, so I've just put together a slideshow going through all the pieces I made, and I think next video either I'm gonna do the upstairs, which I have started on. I've kind of figured out the layout up there, or I'll do some characters and figure out that. I haven't really chosen, so if you have any preferences, let me know. And I hope to see you in those next videos. So I hope you enjoyed. I'd love if you'd like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.